And thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to do another one of my favorite whiskeys, Springbank 25, the 2020 version. Dustin, I can always count on you to get these things. That's the reason I don't have to buy them. You will always give me these beautiful Springbanks. This is the 2020 version of Springbank 25, 46% ABV as it normally is. And this is, as you refer to it, the basic B.
It's basic bitch, Springbank Nashville, or not Nashville. Sorry,
Cask maturation.
Cask maturation. We were talking bourbon earlier.
Yeah, so it's 50% bourbon, 50% sherry maturation, yes?
Yep.
Oh man, Springbank 25, you know how much I love this whiskey, Dustin?
You know what Mike loves even more than Springbank whiskey?
Give it to me.
Rare whiskey. 1,200 bottles, Mike.
That's what I'm talking about, Dustin.
Healthy pours, all right.
Healthier for you, but hey, it's your bottle. I'll take the short end of the stick, my friend.
Tough one, making one for the team, huh?
Hey, I'd sacrifice for everybody. All right, so beautiful, beautiful Springbank 25. If you're no stranger to my channel, this is the third or fourth?
It's third.
Yeah, third Springbank 25. We try to bring the different years since they do different cask maturations. And this 2020 version is no different. I want to try it, and Dustin bought it. Beautiful, natural color, unchill filtered. Springbank 25, just my absolute favorite vintage from this distillery. I know you're a fan of the 21. I'm a fan of the 21.
You know, I go back and forth. There have been a few 21s I liked more than some of the 25s, but I tell you what, I've not had a bad 21 or 25.
Never. We'd love to bring you guys the different vintages of them. I think most of you, if you followed me for a while, know that if it's a whiskey I really like, we want to do every vintage of that particular whiskey just to tell you the different nuances and just to drink them and have fun, bring it to you guys and, tell you what we think. So once again, another Springbank 25. This year, the 2020, showing you that 2020 wasn't a total loss because we got this whiskey out of it.
Absolutely.
Just like the 21-year-old Springbank, which was an absolute stunner.
Oh, that was incredible.
My favorite Springbank 21. You say I'm wrong.
We'll have to do a versus at some point, I guess.
Sounds like a great idea. Let's get into it.
All right, right on the nose, you can tell instantly this is 25-year-old Springbank. Springbank always has that dunnage warehouse characteristic because, again, it's this famed Springbank dunnage warehouse, also where the Cadenhead stuff they continue aging. And it gives off, it's not just an oak, but it's like this dusty, rich, it adds a richness to it that absolutely enhances everything that gets stored there.
I played a little ball when I was in high school, right?
That's what you've told me.
Basketball, football. When you tackle a quarterback, sack him, right? You drive him into the ground. You get into that earthiness, right?
Okay.
But victory. And that's what that Springbank dunnage is to me in the 21 and 25-year-old. Like, yeah, it's dirty.
Yep.
Yeah, you're close to the ground, but you did it like a champion.
And you're right, earthy is the right term because the peat and the dunnage characteristics are almost intertwined. You can't even separate them here easily. There's a little bit of a sweet confectionery candy.
Sure.
There's a hint of the sherry, but not much.
Oh, it smells so beautiful. I mean, again, this is one of the few whiskeys that I get flower notes, lilac, lilies, along with that dirty earthiness. It's the courses of the meal.
Yeah.
And they're distinct.
Yeah,
but you can pick them all up.
This one's probably the lowest of the 25s in that floweriness. But yeah, there is a distinct sweetness that's still on this Springbank 25 malt. There's a distinct little bit of sherry. When those things get put together, they just start making magical flavors and notes and aromas appear. And
you're not getting lilacs on this? I get
no,
lilacs
I do get it, but it's
not the strongest version of it I've ever seen at 25. That was probably the 2016.
Yeah, the 16 was just, oh my gosh, that one used a little
floral
bit
shot.
That one used a little bit of port to kind of add to it, whereas this is kind of that more simple. The last one we brought everybody was the 18, and that one was all sherry casks, but it's actually a lighter color than this, so it was using some really refilled ones.
I tell you what, man, yes, you're getting the dunnage, but like the Springbank funk is dialed down to like 2% on this one. Like you're getting the dunnage warehouse, but you're not really getting a lot of that Springbank dough left out too long funk. At least I'm not on this particular one.
The more I go in here, the more I am starting to find some of that doughiness with a little bit of salt. I'm not really...
Gotta look for it, man.
It's coming in the end, but it's just now coming in. It's taken it however many minutes we've been reviewing here. It's taken it that 5-6 minutes to really start coming out. Yeah, I mean, Mike, I could just literally nose this whiskey for 2 or 3 days, so we're gonna just have to drink it.
Oh, just a beautiful smell. This to me is just the pinnacle of what Springbank is doing. I haven't had anything older. I haven't had the 32 local barley or anything else like that, so I haven't had some of the older, really rich ones. But man, this 25 to me is just kind of what Lefroy is to me. You know, some of the older specialty ones may be super nice, but the 25 is just a consistent, excellent whiskey that you can depend on like the sunrise in the morning. Yeah. Like, I know if it's a Springbank 25 because they're expensive whiskeys.
Yes, they are.
And I will tell anybody, I can guarantee you that is a quality dram.
Oh yeah.
What are you picking up on the palate?
Oh, so I'm getting a lot more baked goods here. Lots of salt. I'm definitely getting like that undercooked bakery dough. I am starting to get a little bit of that sugar cookie that our buddy Keith always talks about. The finish is incredible. I mean, it comes on with rich oak, dunnage warehouse characteristics. But then I start really picking up that sherry characteristic. I start picking up some of the chocolate. I get a little bit of dark fruit. I'm not sure what they are. Maybe it's a plum or something. All the way through here, it's really rich. It's carrying ABV. Probably this is the richest, oiliest, most explosive Springbank 25 we brought the people on the palate. And it's really actually driven heavy by kind of that coastal element. You know, we've been drinking Aaron's all day, and this is just as coastal as they are, if not more so.
To add to what you're saying, there's a grape note to this.
Grape?
Grape, like specifically grape. Like when you said, like you could say the sherry notes or figs or dates, you know, or plums or something like that. But I am almost getting the color of grape. Like there is a grape mixed with like a milk chocolate note to it that is just. It's almost like grape cola, but not that grapey. It's almost like grape cola that was slightly watered down.
Yeah.
It's just a note that goes along with everything else that you were talking about earlier.
And, you know, I get that grapey note a lot of times on 25 plus year whiskeys when they have a little bit of sherry casking. So that doesn't surprise me at all.
No, and again, I completely am sold on the fact that it's something out of those sherry casks. And again, I think it's one of those darker fruits, the figs, the plums, the dates, something like that, but just got boiled down. It's almost like boiled down plum or something like that. And then just turned into a grapey note.
Oh, yeah, I can see that completely.
Again, boiled down though. You know what I mean? It's thinned out some. But again, all those same things that you were mentioning, like that sherry note. But again, like that beautiful Springbank thick, doughy texture of it. God, it's just right there.
Yeah, it's almost viscous in 46.
Shocking.
You never say that.
No. It's oily. It sticks with you. And again, as soon as you swallow, you get that grape note. But then the other like bourbon style flavors kind of settle in probably 5 or 10 seconds after you swallow. And then you get a nice little vanilla. Yeah. You get a nice little, almost like I don't want to say coconut, but not as strong as coconut. Something like vanilla-ish.
Yeah. Like that white powdered sugar.
Yeah, something white. Like I said, not quite that coconutish, but something along those lines.
Like the powdered sugar on a donut almost. So Mike, now on the nose, now we've added water. It's kind of mellowed it out. It's made it more flat. Like it's the same nose. The deeper you go, each time I go back, it's staying there.
Sure,
but the same elements we had before. It's still lovely.
It's dense though.
And you know, truth be told, I'd like to let the water sit in here for another 15, 20 minutes. I wish we'd let these open up for an hour, but you know, we're trying to.
For sake of review,
for sake of review, we can't do that.
Yeah, and then, with water, then the dough, it's a little bit easier to pick out. But it's not dough left out too long. It's not that typical Springbank funky old dough note. It's almost like a fresher dough.
I can see that, yeah.
In an older whiskey, that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
But again, like the freshness of the dough.
Or maybe the dough smells fresher because we're smelling so much more dunnage oak. And it could be like the contrast too, because there's a lot of, this is by far the most dunnage oak. I mean, if you told me this was older than 25 years, like Springbank, was actually had some 26 and 27, 28-year-old barrels they had in the mix. It wouldn't shock me at all if there's some older whiskey here. I doubt it because they're only doing 1,200 bottles. I can't imagine they're saving casks, but maybe they are.
I tell you what, man, the dough note on this is a soft dough, and it already has some flour on top of it.
Oh, there's definitely some flour there.
Maybe again, I know you're not picking this up, but I keep saying this, coconut note, but almost like a light coconut shaving on top of that dough and on top of that white flour. There's just some type of coconut element here.
Well, a lot of people said the Lefroy quarter cask, the Carches, had a coconut note, and I'm getting
remember
a
that.
similar sweet vanilla. I call vanilla here. So it's very possible that's. I just don't know coconut well enough to describe it.
Maybe coconut milk almost.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's more of a vanilla powdered sugar thing. But I think we're talking about the same thing. We're just describing it differently.
Yeah, we're kicking around the same element.
Yeah, this is just unbelievable. All right, let's give it a little taste.
And again, there's a flower note in there, that lilac, and that light lilac but strong lily, if that makes any sense. So the lilac is light, the lily is strong, and they kind of just dance back and forth like two stars dance around each other.
Yep.
Binary solar system.
All right, so Mike, water has done what I unfortunately I kind of expected this, and this is what I get with some of these older Springbanks, and it gets a little more bitter with water, crossing to the point of being a little too bitter, a little too oaked. But I'm now actually getting more of that grape flavor you're talking about, coming out really nicely now, and then it transitions on the very end of the finish to a little bit of the chocolate. I'm still getting lots of salt. In fact, actually, I'm getting more salt now. You know, I don't get a whole lot of peat here.
The salt to me stayed the same, but I know what you mean about like that oak note. It's far more bitter now.
Yeah.
Like before, I never said milk chocolate before, but you could say milk chocolate, almost like I'm a protein powder guy. Optimum Nutrition Gold Standard Whey with their extreme milk chocolate. If you mix that with milk, it's almost like that light of a milk chocolate. With water, it is straight bitter dark chocolate.
Yeah.
To go along with, again, some lighter notes from the bourbon casks. Because I almost think like that flowery lily type note is from the bourbon cask and not from the sherry cask. That's my guess. But then it allows the sherry cask to come in with that bitterness. And I think those are the oakier notes I'm getting is from the sherry casks.
I'm getting something else here I can't even describe. It's like
there's so much going on with these.
There's some kind of pastry, but it's different. Really different. I mean, it's almost like
like if you go to like the amusement parks, the big pretzels you get with no salt, and you skinned the top layer of the pretzel off, so all you have is the dough characteristic underneath. But again, it kind of go back to what I was saying earlier. It's a softer dough with flour on it with coconut shape.
I'm almost getting like a Danish. Like my dad used to when I was a kid. I can't remember what they're called.
Oh, this is morning pastry now.
But he would get
This is morning.
Like he would have this like stuff he would buy, and it had some fruit on it, had some
you get
frosting.
Danish. Yeah.
But this isn't the frosting or the fruit.
No, it's just the pure dough.
It's the pure dough, and it's kind of dry. It's kind of it crackles and falls apart a little bit.
Almost like a croissant almost,
but
not quite.
But it's sweeter. It's sweeter than a croissant.
Not quite that burnt.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, no, you're right. It's some type of pastry that I cannot properly articulate.
We're not the biggest sweets eaters, so
Not in general. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not a pancake guy.
Again, as we keep going back to our childhood.
so we got to draw on.
Yeah.
So we got to draw on. But again, another incredibly complex Springbank 25 that is just so worth the high price tag that because for as far as a 25-year-old whiskey goes that is regularly released, this is one of the more expensive ones. I mean, it's not Macallan 25.
No,
nothing is.
Nothing is.
But these are well north of $500.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
not quite 1,000, but well north.
I think if you jump on it the second it comes out in the UK and you get one of those retail bottles, you're still paying over $500, closer to £600
pounds.
Yeah. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because I've never been able to get one of these at retail.
No, here in the States, these are always $800.
When they first come out, every now and then, someone like Ace might get it for $675 and probably never ship it to you because it's Ace. But sorry,
definitely not now. As you know, I always rave about this particular whiskey.
Yeah.
Whenever you come up from Cincinnati, which if you guys don't know, Cincinnati and Columbus have about 100 miles in between them. I always have the same request: Springbank 25, King, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Show up with those.
I only drink these whiskeys with Mike at this point. I can't justify doing it at home because then I'll run out of whiskey for Mike.
Yeah. Excellent whiskey. All right, so as far as whiskey score, my friend, where are you at on this particular Springbank 25, the 2020 version?
92.
Right there with you, brother. 92 out of 100. I was thinking in my head, I'm somewhere between a 91 and a 93 initially, which I usually am with these things. But I still like the 16 the best. 2016 release.
16's the best nose I think we've had in any of these
For sure.
In fact, actually, it might be the best nose in whiskey I've had. I mean, it's
Right
right
up
up there with like,
Anything.
yeah, we're talking some expensive whiskeys at that point.
Like Mullen 25 with the Fork 32, it's right there with all
That's where I was going, yeah. This one is very balanced. Everything from the finish to the nose to the palate is right there at that 92. This is a well-balanced, well put together, consistent, everything about this whiskey is good. And it's probably the boldest 25. Both in terms of like the oiliness, the viscosity, but just the intensity. I mean, you swallow the whiskey and you're like, man, yep.
For sure. Anyway, we're both at 92 out of 100. We
Yep.
agree again?
Absolutely.
We've been a little off tonight as far as what we thought of whiskeys, but we're right on par with this particular one. I thought this would bring us together and unite us as far as the whiskey score, and it did not disappoint. So let's know what you guys think. If you were lucky enough to get your hands
One of these 1,200 bottles.
1,200 bottles of Springbank 25, 2020,
Yep.
and they change so much every year.
They do, and it's the good and the bad of Springbank. On the one hand, you'll never see that whiskey again. On the other hand, something great's coming out next year. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, you don't know. It's like,
Yeah.
anyway, guys, that's where we're at, both at 92 out of 100. Again, once again, excellent whiskey, which you would expect, A, from this distillery, B, from this age statement, C, from the cost.
Yeah.
You'd expect magic, and this is exactly what you get. A very dependable buy, I will also add.
Yeah. No, if you can justify this price,
Yes.
which is, it's brutal.
It is. You know what to expect here.
Yeah.
Awesome whiskey.
You're going to get excellent whiskey, and if you like Springbank, you just can't go wrong.
Maybe the best 46% whiskey. Non-cash strength bottling. It's right up there. Right up there.
I would go I think I like the Aaron 25 better.
Than this over in general?
Just barely.
That's
I think I gave him the same score. I think the Aaron's a stronger 92.
So this will release this before the Aaron 25, but obviously we'll get to that too because Dustin's already dropped it on you. But
My bad.
We'll get to those at some point too because we're going to experience that distillery. But yeah, another beautiful Springbank 25. I always love these things. We want to thank you for once again joining for another whiskey review. Let us know in the comment section if you're able to get a bottle of this, what you think. And Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy drinking and stay funky.
Springbank. See you next time.